Welcome, sports fans, to another episode of the Buffoons Sports Talk. I'm your host for today, Phill. I'm joined today by my Buffoons, Troy Alexander.
The arrogant buffoon, Troy Alexander.
And Jake Hoffman.
The least arrogant buffoon.
And Alex is not here today. He's actually on a lovely trip to California. Enjoy your trip, big guy. We miss you.
Yeah, we do miss you.
Yes, we do. A little bit.
Just a little, not a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Laker and Yankees fan, so there's only so much you can miss. But outside of his sports, teams, we like the guy.
No, I agree.
He's a good guy,
So let's actually jump right into it. So the first topic, let's actually
what
talk
else would we
about.
normally do?
Let's actually talk about the Lakers and Bucks game last night. Definitely a fun game to watch. I definitely want to hear all your guys' opinion on how the game went, what you guys thought. Does this actually change the MVP race? Like, let's talk about it. Troy, I'll let you start off since, those are your boys.
Well, I don't want to throw any stats out because it's been appointed to me that when I throw numbers out, it makes me look arrogant. So, you know what? Let's actually throw numbers out. Screw that.
Oh, wow. He's going to bring it to the podcast, huh?
So, it came to all of our attention that after the game, Anthony Davis had 3 fouls, right? So he had 3 fouls going into the second half. And primarily that was because he was guarding Giannis. And LeBron went up to Anthony Davis at the end of the second quarter, and this was reported. And LeBron said, "Hey, I'll take Giannis. You got 3 fouls." And LeBron took Giannis. And I feel like that changed the game around. And
who took LeBron? Oh, yeah, not Giannis.
Right. And then LeBron was guarding Giannis throughout the second half. And LeBron actually did a really good job on Giannis. And then Giannis was trying to guard LeBron on the other end, and LeBron took him in the post like 2 times and scored baskets each time. So another thing to point out, Danny Green, when guarding Chris Middleton was 1 for 5 when guarded by Danny Green. And
is Danny Green known for his defense? Or
was it just a 3-and-D guy?
Yeah, he's a 3-and-D guy. I don't think he plays enough minutes, but it's kind of weird. His whole career, he hasn't really played that many minutes.
Because last night he was on the floor a lot. He played 30 minutes.
That's good. I like it. I mean, he was successful guarding Middleton. And, there was a few times where I actually really liked how the Lakers were playing Giannis. They were really physical with him. And, every time he got into the paint, he would be either triple teamed. That kind of worries me, though, because the Bucks aren't the Bucks of last year. They have more shooters this year. So does this change the MVP race? I don't think so, unfortunately, for LeBron's sake. But I think Giannis is still the MVP, even though he still had a pretty good game last night. Like, I don't know his exact numbers, but I thought that LeBron took the challenge. And, as I was saying in the group text last night to everybody, I was just like, if there's anything that I could nitpick LeBron's career on, it's that he doesn't take rivalries. It's very serious. And he always tries to downplay these type of matchups. I don't think he did that last night. I think he had some emphatic dunks in which he really took advantage of. And overall, I thought LeBron played pretty fucking well. Really well, actually.
See, I think that actually changes everything. I think he literally took the MVP from Giannis after this game.
So you actually think LeBron is... God, why does my voice keep cracking? Jesus.
Are we at number 2 now? 5 minutes in.
Why do you think that makes a drastic change in the MVP?
Well, I mean, we talked about it. He was leading in assists. This is his 17th year. He's averaging over 25 points a game. He's almost averaging a triple-double, and this is his 17th season, and I think that's insane. He's definitely taken on being that guard for the Lakers, that point guard, facilitating. And I think you have to account that this is his 17th season. I think for me that's the biggest thing, and he's doing what he's doing. being 35 years of age. And he went right to Giannis. A lot of players won't do that. Giannis is a big guy, great defender, great scorer, but LeBron didn't care. He went right at him, like you said, was in the post, scored multiple times. I mean, I hate to bring up the whole Kobe thing, but ever since Kobe passed away, I just feel like LeBron's just stepped it up a bit. And I think this definitely helps his case, especially in the MVP race.
Well, there was a few things last night that stood out to me. There was like when LeBron would take Giannis in the post. The NBA is a copycat league.
Yeah,
that's what the NBA is. And a lot of the times, what the Bucks do, and what Brook Lopez does, is Brook Lopez will seal off the shot blocker in the paint, so Giannis can have a neat, clear-cut way to the basket. So there's no shot blocker there. JaVale McGee did that last night. He was sealing off Brook Lopez in the paint so LeBron could have an easier path to the basket, and that led to a few dunks from LeBron. And something else I also pointed out to you guys was back in 2013 when LeBron was at his physical peak. No one could really stop him. They had the Heat, and LeBron had a 26-game win streak. And they went into Chicago on my birthday, and the Bulls were extremely physical with LeBron, and they took LeBron's best attribute away, which is his passing, and they made LeBron a scorer. They were extremely physical with him on screens. They were kind of throwing arms at LeBron, and the Bulls ended their win streak. I feel like the Lakers were a little physical with Giannis, but I want to see teams do that to Giannis. When Giannis tries to get into the paint and impose his will, I want to see centers just check him. Because we don't really ever see Giannis be physical, like, ever. Giannis just kind of always has his way in the paint, just is always able to deal what he wants. I want to see a power forward or center just freaking level Giannis, and I want to see how he responds from that. And
I don't think there are that many that can do that to him.
That's the thing, though.
Right?
That's the thing. Who's actually able to do that?
Well, that's the thing. Like, used to, you could take out a bigger guy because of the rules, right? But now with the rule changes, they're going to call that the only way to do that is if you commit a flagrant foul.
That's fine.
I'm
okay with it. I want to see it, though. I want to see I don't want to.
But you're going to get ejected from the game if you start doing that.
But get someone like that's not going to play a lot of minutes. Get someone in there that's physical, and I want to see what happens. How Giannis bounces back.
Put Jared Dudley in there and just fucking bam.
Definitely, wouldn't you say this was the most aggressive game Giannis had to deal with this season?
I would say that, and I think the precautionary MRI on his knee after the game is an example of that.
It was a tough game for him. You can tell.
He's
it's funny because the Bucks started off really good.
They did, and I think the game changed when LeBron decided to take the challenge of guarding Giannis, because
it took a little bit. I was very surprised. It took a little bit for him to be like, "Oh shit, let's go at it."
And this is the part that frustrates me about Anthony Davis is like he has those games where he just kind of floats out there, and like he's just not really doing much. He's just kind of like he had a turnover last night, and then he just jogged back on defense and it led to a layup. Now I'm not saying if Anthony Davis sprinted down the court on defense that it would have stopped the layup, but it's like, bro, get fucking back on defense. What are you doing? And just stuff like that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. But
yeah, he was part of the scoring power between him and LeBron together alone, scoring 67 points
in the second half, though.
Yeah.
Because I think Anthony Davis. This is one of the reasons Anthony Davis doesn't want to play the 5, is because physically it's hard for him to play the 5. He's not the huge, like, he's a long player, but physically I think it takes a lot out of him when he has to guard guys defensively, so that takes a lot out of him offensively. And I think that was one of the reasons he wasn't scoring a lot of points in the first half, because he had to guard Giannis, and it showed 3 fouls. LeBron said, okay, I'll get Giannis. And then that's when Davis exploded in the third quarter. He was starting to get more points. Mm-hmm. But this goes back to why everybody isn't betting on the Bucks. Yes, historically, their numbers are insane as a team, as long as Giannis. But Middleton struggled last night. Do the Bucks have enough as far as a second superstar when Giannis isn't affecting the game like he can to win? This is what worries me, and I think a lot of other people about the Bucks, is let's say Giannis is struggling. who do they give the ball to when Middleton's going 1 for 5 getting guarded by Danny Green? Who else is going to score for them?
I mean, not Bledsoe.
No. Hell
No. I think they had a bench player outscore Bledsoe.
Yeah.
Dante
DiVincenzo, who I think should be starting, actually. I've been beating this drum for a long time. I think DiVincenzo should be
25
starting.
minutes last night. He played a solid game against the Lakers. Brooke Lopez, though. Did anyone else laugh that when he takes his three, he doesn't even jump?
No, he doesn't jump. He's been doing this since his Brooklyn days, man. He just doesn't...
I think I've noticed it, but then it really registered last night when he hit a couple threes. I was like, oh, wow. This guy doesn't even jump.
And, the Bucks' MO on defense, they let you shoot threes. The Lakers had a bunch of wide open threes last night that they just didn't hit. I'm just trying to think, like, if the Bucks go up against a team that's just hitting their threes.
Here, let's dig into that. Let's dig in the predictions of the playoffs. So, what's a good 3-point shooting team in the East right now?
Not the Heat, but I think the Heat match up well with them. As a 3-point shooting team, I mean, if you think about it, there's, like, as far as the playoff race, I can't really think of one that comes to mind right now that can just...
So they potentially could just cruise through the East into the finals.
For the most,
because like you said, they allow the three, and I noticed that when they're playing, they let the threes go, but like once you start driving, all 5 players collapse right under the basket.
Actually, Troy, the Miami Heat have the second highest 3-point percentage in the NBA.
Okay, well, just an FYI, you sounded really arrogant when you threw that stat out at me.
I just sorry.
And I mean, I'm trying to shy away from like throwing numbers out, but I mean, I guess I was really wrong there. The Miami Heat are really good at the shooting threes.
As a team, right? That doesn't mean that they, always make a ton, but let's see. Yeah, I mean, they're taking 34 attempts a game. So I mean, they're not taking the
34.
highest, but they're kind of like in the middle there, but I mean, they're hitting 38% of their threes, 38.3.
What about the Raptors?
They're the second best in the East. They're hitting 37. They're 5th overall.
What about the Boston?
Boston is 11th overall, but they are 5th in the East. But in the East, the only teams better than them are the Heat, the Raptors, the Wizards, Pistons, and they're not doing better. My Pacers, baby, they're right behind the Celtics. Actually, they're tied with the Celtics, 36.3%.
I went back and I rewatched some of the conference finals of the East last year, and the Bucks were up 2-0, and then Game 3 happened. And people want to say that, like, yeah, I mean, Kawhi started guarding Giannis. Yes, that's a reason, but I feel like the series really changed when Marc Gasol was starting to just shoot threes, and he's making them. Like, when you have a 5 that can shoot threes, that stretches things out so much, and it's so hard for a defense to guard every position that can shoot a 3. And I think the Raptors can scare the Bucks, but you also don't have the mid-range god in Leonard anymore. And if you notice when you watch the Bucks, they protect the paint at all costs, and they let you shoot the 3. Brooke Lopez protects the paint, and he drops back into the paint. And Kawhi was killing them last year with that. He would say, okay, drop back. I'm just going to shoot a mid-range shot and make it every time. The Raptors don't really have that anymore. So I think the Raptors can give a scare to the Bucks, but I think ultimately the Raptors don't have enough firepower. And I don't know, man. Just that second star is kind of scaring me if you're a Bucks fan. Because can you rely on Chris Middleton to carry you when Giannis has these type of games? And Giannis still had a really good game. But when they're going up against a team that has a solid wing and LeBron, like, is the Bucks going to get more production elsewhere? That's a question that I don't know if that is answered yet.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think that their loss last night, now that they've lost 3 out of their last 10 games, hurts their chances of being able to win at least 70 games?
Like, I look at the 2016 Warriors, and I'm like, they won 73 games, but does it really matter if you didn't win a championship?
If Draymond didn't get suspended, they would have won that championship.
Tell Draymond to stop punching people in the balls.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, if Draymond doesn't punch people in the balls, there's a good. I mean, they win that game. They win that championship. They were the best team that year. Troy.
I don't know. In the Warriors' eyes, the best team that year was the Thunder. And Iguodala's been on record saying that the best team that year was the Thunder. But I mean, I don't want to go back in history books, but
the Thunder choked. You're right.
Yeah, they did. They should have won that series. It should have been a LeBron Durant series again. But
there was no injuries or like suspensions that factored into that. They just choked.
Maybe there's
where's the Golden State choke? I don't know that that's the same thing because I mean, yeah, they blew the 3-1 lead, but I mean they lost Draymond for 2 games and then they went back and played.
Here's my thing with the Lakers too. Is since we're on the game, is if you're a Laker fan, I would be more satisfied if they lost to the Bucks and beat the Clippers on Sunday, because you can't go down 3-0 against a team who's from the same city, who's been talking trash about, oh, we own the city now, even though you've never won anything. They've never even been in the conference finals in their franchise history. Yes, the Clippers. They've never been in the conference finals ever. And you're trying to talk like, oh, we're this. Yeah, you're a contender. But for the psyche of the Lakers, I think you for sure have to beat the Clippers. You can't go undefeated. You can't go 0-4 against the Clippers.
All right, well, let me throw this out there for both of you. If the Lakers just beat the Bucks, if the Lakers beat the Clippers Sunday, which is tomorrow after this recording, where do you put the Lakers now? Do you put them like an absolute favorite, or does this not really mean much?
I think it's tough because I hate putting stock in regular season wins.
I don't think it changes anything for me. I still think it's a Clippers-Lakers matchup.
So you went on record in the beginning of the year saying that the Clippers were going to make it.
Yep.
So you still think that's the thing?
I still do, yes. And whether or not the Lakers win tomorrow or not doesn't change the fact that I think both teams meet up in the conference finals, and I think it goes to a Game 7, and I think they'll be close games. I think it could go either way.
I think that gives them a boost of momentum, that's for sure, moving forward. Beating 2, probably one of the best teams in the league.
I mean, what you don't want is for one of those players like a Kyle Kuzma to, go down 0-3 against the Clippers and then feel like in the playoff series that they're not going to win, right? Or have his confidence shaken or something like that, right? I don't think for LeBron it matters all that much. And I don't think for AD it matters all that much. Maybe a little bit more AD than LeBron, obviously, but I still don't think it matters.
I don't know. To me, this kind of shows that LeBron still has another gear that he can kind of go into come playoff time. But I don't think it's fair, and I don't want to say physically possible, but you can't ask LeBron to run an offense and also guard the best player in a 7-game series. I just don't know how much you can rely on that. And sure, he did a really good job on Giannis, but if you play 4 times at the very least, can you ask LeBron to do that every game?
Okay, so we're going to wrap up this topic real quick. But before we do, I just want to throw this out, and you could probably answer this question, because I actually haven't even looked it up yet. Where's Paul George at? Like, how? I know he sat out for a little bit. Is he playing? Is he not playing?
Yeah, he's playing.
He's playing, but...
Because I haven't seen much on recent news about him, so...
He was in a kind of slump for a little bit. He had a better game, I think, the other night, right?
Well, he's been in and out. This has been the Clippers all year, where, sure, I would still probably pick them over the Lakers in the finals, but are they going to be healthy? Are they going to be 100% healthy? And I don't know. And can we cover the Dion Waiters signing real quick, too, before we wrap?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that's important.
Now, in a perfect world, if you're rooting for the Lakers, you want to say, well, hopefully Waiters and Alex Caruso get Rajon Rondo's witness, because Rajon Rondo was absolute hot trash. That's not going to happen. I think Waiters came into the meeting with Rob Pelinka and the rest of the Lakers and said, I'm okay with whatever role you give me. Realistically, Dion Waiters can maybe give you a game here and there in the playoffs where he can give you 10 to 15 points off the bench. That's important because you're trying to give LeBron some rest. You can't have him playing 40 minutes every playoff game at this stage, I don't think.
Well, this will definitely make you happy knowing that Alex Caruso played 18 minutes compared to Rajon Rondo, who played only 12 minutes.
Yeah. that's like...
Because I know in the past that was your biggest issue, is that Rajon Rondo was taking a lot more time away from Caruso. But
Yeah.
you think they're finally making that transition, or you think it was just this game in particular?
I think they are making the transition because I think Caruso's proven enough to be like, okay, I'm a rotation player. Rondo is not anymore. Obviously, Caruso's not saying that, but all you have to do is look at the stats, look at the plays that Caruso makes compared to Rondo. And Caruso is by far miles and away a more important and impactful player than Rondo is. So should Waiters and Caruso be taking up Rondo's minutes? Yes. Will that happen? No. Rondo's still going to be playing some playoff minutes, and I think Waiters will be getting some playoff minutes. I think tomorrow is against the Clippers. I think that's going to be Waiters' first game.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be shocked if the Clippers won. And
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so then we'll move on to the next topic, switch it over to the NFL. Recent news that Brady and Belichick actually did have conversation. It was just business alone. We still don't really know much about, the future of Tom Brady, but I'll defer this to you, Jake. Is this a concern for the Patriots? Is this a concern for Tom Brady? Where do you think this goes, moving forward? Do you see Brady coming back to New England, or do you still see him, signing with a different team?
Look, man, I think, it's been my hunch all along. I don't know this to be true for sure, but look, I think they both feel the same way.
Which is?
They want to prove they can win without the other. Look, one's the greatest coach of all time, one's the other, the greatest quarterback of all time, right? The real question is, do you need the other one? And, you know what I mean? This is where Tom Brady has a short window to be able to prove, I don't need Bill to win, right? I don't need Bill Belichick. Whereas Bill's going to have a much lengthier window to prove that he can win without Tom. And, in fact, I think he already has, given the fact that, he won a few games with Jacoby Brissett and Jimmy Garoppolo the year that Brady was suspended 4 games. The year that Brady went down with his ACL injury, they went 11-5 with Matt Castle.
I was going to say that. That's the
Even though they
year I
missed
was
the
going to
playoffs.
mention. Yeah.
I think people forget the fact that while he wasn't the head coach, he was the assistant head coach with Bill Parcells the year that Drew Bledsoe led the Patriots to the Super Bowl and they lost to the Packers. And I think people also don't realize that he was the defensive coordinator for the Giants with LT that shut down, that West Coast offense that the San Francisco 49ers ran. I think they beat him 3 times in the playoffs and won 2 Super Bowls as the defensive coordinator under Bill Parcells, right? So he's already kind of proven that he doesn't need Tom Brady, but I think he really needs to prove it as that head coach, only because people will always defer to, what did you do before Tom? Well, he was actually the assistant head coach. And then, when he was in Cleveland, he actually did pretty decent in Cleveland, to be honest, if you really look at it, but still got fired after 2 years.
What were his stats in Cleveland so you can be arrogant and point out?
I think he almost went 500, but he got fired.
Because I know the New York Post posted 3 days ago saying that the Tom Brady talk with Bill Belichick didn't go well whatsoever. And then recent news from Clutch Points that the Patriots' Robert Kraft committed to letting Bill Belichick make the decision on Tom Brady. Do you find that, surprising, just because Tom Brady had such a big or a great relationship with Robert Kraft?
No, because Bill Belichick's your GM and he's your head coach. He's in charge of all the football operations essentially. And he's the reason. Look so
Robert Kraft kind of stepping back, being the owner, which is what he's supposed to do, rather than some other owners.
And to your average NFL fan that doesn't necessarily understand every in and out of a game of football, they look at Tom Brady and they're like, "Oh my gosh, he's amazing." But if you really understand the game and you really know what you're watching, for the most part, it's a fantastic system. But it's Bill that's running that show there. He's the one that's drafting great players. He's the one that's getting guys, in a roster of 40 amazing players that are getting paid less than what they should be on a different team, right? He's the one that gets them to be disciplined and, not not do penalties and stuff like that. It's all those different components that bring them the wins. And while I think they'll struggle a little bit without Brady, don't get me wrong, he's definitely better than like an Andy Dalton or something. I still think they could win at least 10 games with Andy Dalton.
it's weird because like we've seen the Patriots dominate so long with Brady and Belichick at the helm. So like, okay, I don't think if Brady goes to like a 500 team, we're really going to see an impact, and how Brady's legacy will be impacted if he goes to a 500 team. Now, let's say he were to go to like a team that's really only missing a competent quarterback. Because let's be honest, I don't think you need a dominant quarterback to win in the NFL nowadays. Like, I don't think you need to be like an MVP caliber type of quarterback to win in the NFL. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I mean, it's hard to say only because I mean, for so long we've seen the NFL dominated by MVP caliber quarterbacks, and that's what's gotten to the Super Bowl, right? When you factor in the Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben. You know, Big Ben hasn't won an MVP, but Big Ben's always been in the talk of it. You know, one of the best. And you look at what Patrick Mahomes was able to do in the Super Bowl. I'll say I don't think you have to have one to get there, but I'll say that, boy, if you're facing a team that has one and you don't have one, you're at a slight disadvantage, in my opinion.
Okay, so let's say Tom Brady like goes to I can't think of a team. Throw out a team.
Titans.
Okay. Put him on Titans. How do you think, and both of you guys, how do you think the Titans do? And does winning in that situation prove that Brady doesn't need Belichick?
You want to give? What are your thoughts, Phil? You want to give him, or I mean,
I think they win the division. I think that the Titans have a solid defense. They have a great run game, a good O-line, and that's kind of a good place for Tom Brady, in my opinion. I still think they would lose to the Chiefs if they match up. I think the Chiefs are on a whole nother level, regardless where Tom Brady goes.
I think even if he goes to the Titans, I mean, yeah, you got Derrick Henry you can tag, but
that to
who's
me,
he got to throw? Who's he going to throw to?
I mean, obviously they have A.J. Brown, who's an up-and-coming wide receiver. Yeah. Corey Davis is all right.
I mean, so is N'Keal Harry that they drafted.
What about the 49ers?
Saw Julian Edelman. Saw James White.
I think those rumors are ridiculous, and you know, the GM has already came out and said that Jimmy's our guy, and we're moving forward with Jimmy. Okay, I just don't see it happening. I just don't.
Okay, neither do I. But like,
I think. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think that New England is definitely talking to San Fran because obviously there's that connection with, you know, the Shanahans and Bill Belichick, you know, from the past, and
Bill likes Jimmy.
Yeah,
Brady likes San Fran.
I think it's going to be talked. I wouldn't be surprised if New England reaches out, you know, to see what can happen. But
I mean, I think the contenders are the Patriots, obviously, still to sign him. The Titans, the Chargers, I think San Fran is in the running. I think the Raiders are in the running, but I don't think they sign him.
Because you had Dana White that was on the phone with Tom Brady. Saying, come to the Raiders, Las Vegas, brand new stadium. And I think it'd be cool for the Raiders. But I don't think anything will happen.
I've got a hypothetical for you, though. Let's say rumors are true, rumors aren't true, whatever. I'm just trying to put Brady in a situation to where, like, okay, the 49ers lost the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. You can blame that, I think, in a lot of part to Garoppolo because the Chiefs put him in situations to where Garoppolo the 49ers had to make decisions. And you can blame this on Kyle Shanahan, too, for making that decision to have Garoppolo throw the ball instead of sticking to your MO, which got you there the whole year, which was running the ball in your defense, right?
Yeah, he was. I think he was trying to prove a point, but it backfired on him.
Okay.
I think they got too crafty, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Pun intended on craft.
So,
but
it'd be a different discussion if Jimmy did hit Emmanuel Sanders in the end zone.
See, like, that's what's tough to, like, real quick. Like,
he's just one throw away from changing this whole entire discussion.
And so, like, this is the thing. Like, from an X's and O's standpoint, Shanahan made the right call. He was open. The throw was there to be made. And it was the right play because it's a touchdown, and that seals the deal more than likely. From an X's and O's standpoint, it was right. From a play-calling standpoint, knowing your quarterback, I think it was the wrong move. Your quarterback is not Patrick Mahomes. And I would say the same thing if Harbaugh had Lamar Jackson take a throw like that too. I'd say he's not that kind of quarterback. He should be bootlegging out and running with the ball.
But for the most part, I'm not trying to like dissect the Super Bowl, but my whole point is, and more importantly, like Shanahan, I think overall made Garoppolo throw too much. They went against what got them there the whole year. I think Garoppolo threw too much, but my point is if Brady went to the 49ers, right? It's hypothetically, it's not, I don't know if it's going to happen. And the 49ers won. Like, I don't think that gives Brady the upper hand and say, oh, hey, doesn't need Belichick, because that team's so stacked. Like, all they're literally missing is, this is no bash on Garoppolo, but all they're really missing is like a super competent quarterback. If he were to go to like the Chargers or something like that and win, then I think that gives Brady the upper hand.
I still think the Chargers are stacked. They've got great wide receivers, a great tight end, 2 great backs.
But a defense, though. Like,
they had a defense. They had a decent defense, but I do
but
think
not
they're
on the
going to
level. Not on the level of the 49ers defense.
But no. But they had a lot of injuries last year. I mean, if they weren't so banged up, they would have been way better than what their numbers look like. But
like, all I'm gonna say, and just put a little side note. I know the comment you made regarding like the run game. Yes, the run game was their bread and butter. Like, that was their thing. But Jimmy finished top 10 in almost every single category when it regards to quarterbacks. He's not a bad quarterback. He really isn't. And to Jake's point, it was the right call. I know we've discussed this a couple times off the podcast, Jake. But, I mean, if Tom Brady was in that situation, does Tom Brady make that throw to Emmanuel Sanders? He's wide open. See, I don't even know.
I don't even know, because that's not even the strength of Tom. Like, here's the thing. That's not even the strength of Tom Brady's game. Tom Brady's strength is throwing a pass 10 yards, in the middle of the field, away from the defender, right where the wide receiver can catch it. He's not necessarily. I mean, of course, he can hit some of those deeper throws. He's done plenty of them. But honestly, without Rob Gronkowski in there, you know what I mean? Like, that's where a lot of them came to. Him and Randy Moss. You take those two away.
That saying, like, imagine Tom Brady with George Kittle, up-and-coming tight end, who arguably, in my opinion, and I'm probably just biased, but I think he's the best tight end in the league, just because he can, not only is a great pass catcher, but he's a hell of a blocker on that side of the football as well.
If it's not, I mean, he's either one or two. Yeah. It's either him or Kelsey.
Patriots, I'll tell you what. Jared Goff's on the table. Todd Gurley's on the table. I'll take Tom Brady.
Troy wants all his Rams on the table because he wants to just do a salary dump for his Rams.
And
I think a lot of people are on the table this year. I mean, there's a quarterback roulette going on, or like musical chairs going on.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I mean, there's a decent amount of free agents with quarterbacks. So, I mean, you got Tom Brady, Drew Brees, which obviously is confirmed he's back with the Saints, Teddy Bridgewater, Case Keenum, Marcus Mariota, Josh McCown, Dak Prescott. Obviously, he just got offered a contract for a ridiculous amount. I forgot what it was. Jake, refresh my memory. It was, what, $105 million?
I think it was $105 million. It was $33 million a year, and just stupid.
Okay, clearly he's going to accept it, and it's going to hurt the Dallas Cowboys.
It's going to cripple the Dallas Cowboys. They're not going to be able to re-sign Byron Jones.
Then there's also Phillip Rivers, Ryan Tannehill, Jameis Winston.
I apologize for the background.
Cam Newton as well.
Making
Cam
another
Newton,
Jack
yes,
and
I totally
Coke.
forgot about Cam Newton.
Yeah, I mean, you got Cam Newton as well. You could even potentially see the Steelers move on from Big Ben. Highly doubt it happens, but with Mason Rudolph, you never know. They might decide around the draft time to trade Big Ben to a team.
What happens if they get a good offer?
It could happen. Highly doubtful, but it could happen.
Wishful thinking reporting. Jared Goff on the table.
Troy,
what?
No one is trading for those awful contracts on the Rams. This is not the NBA. They're not gonna. You're just. It's not happening.
All right, before we get into salary dump
the
trade
only
talk,
team that's signing worse players to worse contracts than your fucking team is the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
They're about to sign Dak and Amari.
Their last year was the only year, in my opinion, they actually had a shot.
This is why you don't pay the running back, number one. Number two, they're about to, just like you guys did with Gurley, they paid Zeke. Number 2, they're about to pay a wide receiver, just like you paid Brandon Cooks, and he's like your third best wide receiver.
I didn't
behind
pay anybody.
Kupp, and it's arguable whether Robert Woods is better than Brandon Cooks. And then you're about to pay a fucking mediocre quarterback, elite quarterback money, just like you did Jared Goff, who's not Carson Wentz.
I'm just gonna own up to it. I know we had a discussion if you would pay a running back that type of money. In the past, I said yes. After seeing everything, I agree with you moving forward. I was wrong. You were right. I know that fuels your ego. But
yeah, I mean,
I can see now because look at the Niners with Raheem Mostert. Undrafted running back. Fits in the system great. Look at Kansas City with Damian Williams. Fits in the system great. Also an unrestricted free, or wasn't drafted pretty much.
You take that money, you pay the O-line, and whoever runs behind that O-line looks good. Look at the Colts. They have Marlon Mack, who's looking like an elite running back. He's not an elite running back. He looks like it because he's running behind an elite O-line. All right. I wish he was elite. I'd love to say he was, but he's not.
Okay. Running back discussion aside, me trolling aside, let's talk, and the trolling's never going to stop, by the way. Let's talk about the quarterbacks that we all just listed. Can we imagine like a better situation for them, or what do you guys think is going to happen as far as like, because I mean, Phillip Rivers is interesting. Like, obviously, Tom Brady.
Yeah, because Rivers for sure is not going back to San Diego.
Okay,
no,
that's like
it's LA now.
Did I say San Diego?
You did.
Deep down, they're San Diego.
Yeah,
they should never have moved.
Seriously.
But yeah, he left the Los Angeles Chargers, which is like a confirmed thing. He is not going back.
They both need to mutually split.
Yeah,
I think they agreed to it too. So let's start with him first because I think he's for sure not going to re-sign back. Where do you think he ends up?
I really think there's 2 places. I think it's either Indianapolis. I think there's a lot of signs of him going there. The current offensive coordinator for the Colts was his former quarterback coach. Frank Reich was his former offensive coordinator. Frank Reich's the head coach. It'd be for a 2-year deal, so it's not going to completely cripple the Colts, and they'll still have Jacoby for another season. So if Jacoby can outplay Phillip, or if Phillip just does terrible, they bring in Jacoby. They've got a lot of money to spend.
Might as well go to the Indianapolis. I mean, he might as well bring Darren Sproles with him too, because those two tortured the Colts for years in the playoffs.
Troy, why don't you just get out of here with that? And Sproles did it even worse to us on the Saints.
Yeah.
But anyways, if it's not to the Chargers, I think he goes to the Buccaneers. I really do. I mean, I think that's, he's been linked to, he moved to Florida, right? There's a lot of links to Florida. Maybe even potentially the Jaguars. I don't see the Jaguars only because they put a lot of money into Foles, who it doesn't look like they're even going to run with.
No, I think they're
going to go with Gardner Minshew, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that makes sense. He looked to do pretty well last season. I think you gotta go with him. I mean, there's reports of maybe Miami and the Dolphins. I highly doubt that because they've still got Ryan Fitzpatrick inked up, and I think their plan is to try to draft Tua at 5 or draft a quarterback, even if Tua doesn't go. I mean, if Tua goes earlier, which we can get to in just a little bit, because I think that's something you have to factor into this conversation as well, is the fact that you got the draft coming up and you got 2 quarterbacks that are definitely going in the top 5, and another 2 quarterbacks that, based on all current reports, are more than likely going in the top, 10 or 12. I really don't see any scenario where if Jordan Love or Justin Herbert are there, that the Raiders or Colts don't take either of them at 12 or 13, and I think they go before that. So I think those are factors in this as well. But more than likely, I see Phillip Rivers on the Colts.
Okay, and I think the Colts makes the most sense because if you're Phillip Rivers, you're in your mid-30s. You're probably at the tail.
Late 30s, I think. Right?
I'm sorry. You're at the tail. He got drafted in the same year Eli did. So that was 2003, right?
3 or 4, yeah.
4. Okay, so
I
it was
think
4?
it's 4.
Okay, so 16th. Yeah, he's got to be in his 36, 37 at this point. At this stage in your career, you have to probably be thinking about winning if that's what Rivers is valuing. I don't know what he's valuing, but
he wants a ring.
Okay, so probably the Colts, right? I mean, I don't think the Bucs are at a stage, even though they have really good receivers over there in Tampa Bay.
And they're coaching Arians,
Okay, but knowing how Bruce Arians is, he wants to run a high-volume offense. Can you expect a 37-year-old Phillip Rivers to be in that type of offense?
Damn, Phillip Rivers actually just turned 38 recently in December. So, yeah, he's only got 2 years left max, in my opinion. But here's the thing with Phillip Rivers that I'm not even necessarily that sold on is he throws the football like he's shot putting it, like he's on a track team, right? I mean, And so the truth is, I mean, the reason Brady still looks good at his age, the reason Breeze looks good at his age still is because of their mechanics. And Phil Rivers never necessarily had the best mechanics. And so, sometimes when the arm gets a little bit tired, week 12 or week 13, those balls fall, 2 or 3 yards short, and they end up getting picked. And we watched him have some absolutely disgusting games last year. 23 touchdowns to 20 picks.
All right, well, okay, if it's not Phillip Rivers, then I'm just curious to see if there's any interchangeable parts that can happen a quarterback can go to a team and really make an impact and say, hey, can we compete with the Chiefs or can we compete with the 49ers or any other team? Do you guys think there's teams out there that could use a quarterback that if they added one could say, hey, okay, we got a shot now?
I think the Colts, yes, but I don't think there's a quarterback out there on the market that they can get outside of
Jared Goff.
I think the only one, and this would be dependent if he comes back healthy, and his best would be Cam Newton, and I still don't think that it would elevate the Colts to where they'd need to be. Now, I think if Andrew Luck never retired, or if he came out of retirement, which isn't going to happen, that would put the Colts right back into the contention for a Super Bowl. But without that, no, I don't think so. And I think the Ravens have their quarterback. I just think they're missing just a little bit.
So you got anything in mind that maybe a team adds a quarterback that we mentioned from the list that can maybe put them over the hump and challenge some of these top contenders?
Honestly, I keep going back to them. Tennessee.
Okay, so you think the Titans have enough right now that if they were to add a quarterback that could easily push the envelope a little bit?
Potentially.
Okay.
Potentially, but like I said when we were talking about Tom Brady, they are set to do well. I mean, they did well in the playoffs with Tannehill, and I feel like if you actually put a quarterback who can throw to his receivers, then I think they can possibly go past where they left off before. From who's a free agent, I don't know. Winston, to me, he's a gunslinger. He's fun to watch. Just got LASIK. Shouldn't see doubles out there anymore. So
I got 2 Godwins out here
now. Yeah, I don't think Rivers would solve that problem. Tom Brady, I don't think he solves that problem either.
What?
Yeah, just Tennessee right now.
I guess here's the thing I just want to put out there really quick. We all watched the games Brady played in, right?
Yeah, most.
Okay, let's not forget. Now, he clearly didn't have one of the top 10 receiving cores in the league. So has Julian Edelman. So has James White. Still went out and got...
Didn't James White get the second most receptions on
in a Super
team?
Bowl? Well, yeah.
Season?
Still a good pass-catching running back, right? Still have Julian Edelman. They still went and got Sanu, right? I mean, I don't know, he's not amazing, but he's a good second or third receiver.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they drafted a quarterback in the a wide receiver in the first round.
Keel Harry.
What else do you want? I mean, they went out and they got Antonio Brown.
And before this, though, I mean, keep in mind, 13 years ago, he had the best slot receiver in the league and one of the best slot receivers of all time in Wes Welker, and then not to mention one of the best receivers of all time in Randy Moss.
Wide receiver coach for the 49ers.
It's okay.
He's always had good.
He's always had solid. He's never really had
Amendola,
a less
Edelman.
than solid receiving core. But what about some of these guys that are just kind of waiting, and just waiting in line for their next opportunity? What about a guy don't at me? What about Marcus Mariota? What about someone like that? Do you think he could benefit in a better situation? And I'm not saying that Tennessee's a bad situation because clearly they just ran up against a juggernaut in the Chiefs. But what about guys like that? They're just kind of waiting and waiting and
I think that's a good point that you bring up because I think that if there is a quarterback, I think if there's a system that he could excel in, it would be New England.
Okay.
It would be that kind of offense where you get the slot receivers, you get the good running game. You don't necessarily have to put up 30 points a game to win. there's a lot of check downs.
Okay, so we're talking about the wide receiver core for the Patriots. Okay, so what happens if they got a decent wide receiver off the free agency? So, like, I don't know.
Who's out there?
There's A.J. Green, Nelson Aguilar, Robbie Anderson.
So
Brandon Cooks.
Troy.
Emmanuel
No
Sanders.
one wants
Okay.
your garbage receivers on the Rams.
Real quick, though. If
A.J. Green's getting tagged.
Patriots, let's say they signed Emmanuel Sanders, and then they signed what they were lacking last year, a tight end like an Eric Ebron or an Austin Hooper or Hunter Henry. Does that change anything for Tom Brady? Do you think he comes back to New England if they sign like those players first? And does that actually make a difference?
I don't think it's a personnel issue, though. I just think, like, at this point, you're Brady. You've accomplished literally everything you can want to accomplish. I think it's, let's be honest. All the best players, and it couldn't even maybe not be best players, it could just be players. Players have egos, right? They want to prove, it's maybe even Brady, that he can win without Belichick. I don't know if it's a personnel thing.
I think it's an ego thing, just like
So
you
do
said,
I.
Troy. Because look at what are the only knocks on Tom Brady? Well, there are some other quarterbacks that have proven that they're not system quarterbacks. That's the knock on him, right? Is that he takes less money, so they're always under the salary, so that like they can pay other players, right? Which is a kind of a knock on him if you think about it, because that means that he can't get paid a ton and carry the team to wins the way that other quarterbacks did. And the other knock is that he's a system quarterback, right? Whereas you look at other players, Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl with another team. Kurt Warner took another team to the Super Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brett Favre took another team to the NFC Championship and should have
won.
Got cheated out of a
Yeah.
win.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Montana took the Chiefs to the AFC Championship game. I mean, you look at some of these other quarterbacks and that are on that all-time list, that are in that top 10 conversation, and you say, okay, they've proven that they can.
Can I do that now?
They've proven that they can take those teams to other championships. So here's the thing: if Belichick wins after the Brady era and they win a Super Bowl or two, it diminishes Tom Brady's legacy a lot, in my opinion. It really does, because I think it does go to show that he was a system quarterback. That's the only thing that, to me, and let's be honest, he wasn't a system quarterback from 2007 through about 2015 or 16. I mean, this dude was elite, right?
Yeah.
But
So
for the first 3 Super Bowls and for the last few, he hasn't had to do nearly as much. He's especially the first 3 or 4, 5 years of his career, he's a dink and dunker.
So we got another minute left of this topic, so I'll just throw this out there. Let's say Belichick does bring the Patriots to the Super Bowl and wins without Tom Brady, but then Tom Brady takes another team to, let's say, the conference championship. Does that still diminish?
In my mind, that just means that two fucking powerhouses teamed up.
Now I understand
And-
why we saw the greatest dynasty
Yeah.
of all time in like any sport.
Because it could happen.
It could happen.
It could happen, and
It for sure could.
And that's what happened with Joe Montana. That's why people considered Joe Montana, is that after he left that West Coast offense and Steve Young did really well, he was still able to go to the Chiefs and take him to the AFC Championship game, right? That helped his legacy. Brett Favre, same thing with the Vikings. Peyton Manning, same thing with the Broncos. Even though that last Super Bowl, I know he wasn't necessarily the big player, and at the 3 years beforehand, he did absolutely incredible things with the Broncos and set all kinds of records. And he still managed the game pretty well for the Broncos and didn't do anything dumb. So Kurt Warner, same thing. I mean, that's a category. And I think the other reason Brady's playing till 45 is I think there was one season where Vinny Testaverde was on the Patriots, and Vinny played till he was 45. I know he was a backup a lot of his career and everything, but I think Tom Brady wants to beat that too. And he wants to have all the records.
Competitive.
Right. But to go along with what you said, Phil, I just think that proves that they're the best dynasty. I mean, you can argue they're the best dynasty in sports history. And
Dude, arguably probably the best duo ever.
yeah. And they both still win without each other, that just proves that. And it's entirely possible that could happen.
Thank God they didn't go undefeated that year. I mean, at least and win the Super Bowl. I didn't know they went undefeated in the regular season, but thank God they didn't go 19-0.
Seriously, I would, yeah.
If he had
Thank God.
7 and that was one of them, I bet you he would trade 2 of his current rings for one, that one.
Yeah, because that would literally be the only example in NFL history that's happened. Obviously, you could see the Dolphins, but it wasn't as many games at that stage.
Only 2 less though.
Still, though. still.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. Troy, do you want to take this one?
As I've been beating this drum since this whole last topic, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the topic that I wanted to discuss is, obviously I'm a huge NBA guy, and we see salary dump trades happen all the time to clear more space. So if you
Which you would love right now
for
the Rams.
absolutely love for it to happen. And we see it all the time in the NBA. A team wants to get off of an awful contract, and another team will take that player from you. But in order to take the player, you got to sweeten the deal. So, for instance, the Cavaliers say that they think Kevin Love is still a bona fide star. So they're trying to get back assets for him. But other teams do not see it that way. They see Kevin Love as a wrong side of 31 years old, injury prone with a gigantic contract. So in order for this team to take Kevin Love, you better sweeten the deal. Say, we'll take his $30 million a year salary, but you better throw in a first-round pick with that. Okay. So we see it happen all the time in the NBA. I want to ask you guys this. Being the NFL, this is a shitty situation for the Rams. You have Brandon Cooks on a huge deal. You have Todd Gurley on a huge deal. 2 injury-prone guys who aren't living up to their contracts because of their injuries, right? I mean, Brandon Cooks has a ton of concussions. Todd Gurley's knees are made out of glass, right? So being how the NFL is and how there's 7 rounds to each draft.
There's more than 7.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I think sometimes, yeah.
But I mean, for the most part, it's a wide,
Yeah.
it's a huge
Yeah,
scaled.
Sometimes there's
draft.
an 8th round, I think.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Normally there's 7.
So draft picks are way more important probably than the NBA.
Yeah.
So can you see the NFL starting to adapt what the NBA does as far as salary dumping and getting, trading away draft picks more easily? Because in my eyes, I can't. Because draft picks are just so much more important in the NFL because there's so many. So look at the Rams, for instance. You got these 2 guys. Could you see the Rams partnering a draft pick with one of these players as a salary dump? Or not even the Rams, just another team doing it, because the Rams probably have a ton of draft picks tied up in the Jalen Ramsey trade. So they probably can't even sweeten like a many picks with that. What do you guys think?
I mean, if you've got a team like the Raiders, who've got a lot of draft picks, a lot of money to spend, maybe they're willing to take, but they got Josh Jacobs too. They don't want Gurley, but.
Well, it doesn't even have to be Gurley.
No, but I mean, you're going to need to give up. If you're going to salary dump, I mean, you're either having to give up Aaron Donald or Gurley. There's no doubt about it. And you're what? Who are you hoping to salary dump here? I mean, because you're not going to give up Ramsey, who you just traded all that for, right?
No, the point is salary dumping Cooks and
Right.
Gurley, because also you have to keep in mind that
you want to salary dump Gurley?
look at he's nowhere near what he was 2 years ago, man.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, I agree with you, but I mean, he's only, how many years left? It's not like that contract that Zeke has, where it's like 6 years. His was like a 4-year.
No, I think
4-year
Gurley
deal,
still
so.
has like 3 years left, but clearly his production and his numbers aren't near what they were before the Super Bowl year, right? Because before they got to the Super Bowl that year, he was arguably the best running back in the game. And then the whole knee tendonitis rumor came up, and hey, Gurley's not being as productive. What's going on? Is it Sean McVay? Is he just not making a good coaching call? Not playing? Like, what's going on here? So,
Golf sucks.
yes, that too. He's clearly, the contract that he signed, he's not lived up to expectations. And it's just...
Can't throw outside.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to think, like, because the NBA and the NFL are designed differently as far as luxury tax. The NFL is, look, you sign your guys. You're not going to have enough money to go out and get guys because that's how it is. NBA is, you want to pay the luxury tax? Okay, then we can sign more guys. That's essentially how it works with.
Yeah, and if you win a
kinks and
championship,
things.
you'll make way more money as a franchise than what you're paying in the luxury tax. That's why it's a broken system.
Right, because how it is in the NBA is you can go over the luxury tax as an owner to sign all of your guys, and you still have your mid-level exceptions to sign veterans here and there
Same
too.
problem with baseball.
Okay, and the NFL is not the same way.
I know NFL is the only one that's got this figured out, in my opinion.
And yeah, I mean,
they're the only league where from a 2 to 3 year span you can turn it around and compete for a championship. No other team in any sport can do that. Even the Pelicans, they go get the first overall pick and get themselves a superstar in Zion. You know that minimum, I'm sorry, they're at least 3 years away from having a chance to compete for a championship, right?
I mean, I don't know, man. They've got all of these first-round picks that they got from that Anthony Davis trade. Why not throw some of these picks out there and see if you can improve your team for a superstar next year?
Yeah, throw those first-round picks for trades for like some solid players.
Not just that, you have pick swaps that you got from the Lakers. Lakers get a good pick. Okay, Pelicans get the choice. Hey, I want that pick instead. They have the opportunity to do that. So I'm just asking, like, could we ever see, like, because I'm sure we see it now. Do we see salary jumps in the NFL?
Oh, do we see that in the NFL or MLB?
NFL.
I mean, not really. Mm-hmm. No, they just cut the player.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but are you penalized for cutting players in the NFL?
I mean, usually there's a date, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, the Colts, they had to cut Peyton Manning on a certain date, and it was like sometime in March, right? I forget the exact deadline. But they have to cut him before a certain date, otherwise they have to absorb the hit to their salary cap, whether he's on the roster or not, right?
So that's the penalty.
Right. And so, as you still take the cap hit for your roster that year, right? And you can't really exceed the cap. So, I mean,
I just think salary dumps are too hard in the NFL because picks are so much more important.
Well, they are, and because you're always, the whole key to winning in the NFL is to it's the model that the Patriots have used for years. The only difference is teams right now are trying to do it on young deals. I mean, if you look at the last few teams that haven't had a Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Big Ben, or Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees on it, it's been who I think are capable of carrying their teams to the championship on that type of deal. It's been Patrick Mahomes on a young deal, Jared Goff on a young deal, Carson Wentz on a young deal, even though I know Nick Foles played in the championship game. He was on a cheap deal too, and Carson Wentz was the one that got most of the way there right before he got hurt. You've got, even when Mitch Trubisky took the Bears to the NFC Championship,
Russell Wilson signed
young deal.
Signed
exactly, Russell Wilson. You've got Lamar Jackson being the last one, and then all of a sudden Russell Wilson gets paid. And I'm not saying that Russell Wilson's not worth that money, but honestly, he's probably worth less than that. He really is, because he can't carry the team there, and that's the model now. So it's like, hey, like if I'm the Cowboys and Dak wants all this money, fucking go sign somewhere else, bitch. No, I'm serious. Like, go sign somewhere else. We'll draw out the new guy. We will, and we'll try to win with someone else.
So it's kind of just like then the way the leagues are geared then, because the NBA is geared way differently than the NFL is. My whole thing was, I'm pretty sure I'm just salty on how bad the Rams contracts are. So I wanted to see if it would ever be possible to salary dump like the NBA. But because of the way that the leagues are geared, I just don't think it's possible.
No, I mean, you might see, and you even just saw this in baseball too. I mean, the Red Sox just traded over all their two great players to the Dodgers, right? They traded over Manny Machado, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Manny Machado and David Price, right? Yeah, of course, that's what happened. So, but the reason was Manny Machado's a beast, right? Worth the money. David Price, who is their pitcher, right? I mean, he's still good. He's still probably a number 4 or 5 pitcher, but he's getting paid like an ace. Now, again, truly, you don't have to do that in baseball, but that's why they traded him to the Dodgers, because the Dodgers and Yankees have an unlimited payroll.
All right, well, not trying to steal the horns here, Phil, but before we close the pod, can we just end like one last minute on the Nets and Kenny Atkinson mutually parting ways? Because that just came out this morning, and I want to just real quick talk about that.
Yeah, go for it.
Kind of funny, man, because...
For our listeners, who's Kenny Atkinson, for those who don't know?
I'm sorry, guys. I'm, like...
Because not everyone follows that garbage franchise until, a few teams, until KD signed there.
Yeah, sorry, guys. I need to be more transparent. I'm, like, 2 Jack and Cokes in and a shot, so sorry. But, yeah, Kenny Atkinson is the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets of the NBA, and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving obviously signed max deals with the team this past summer. And part of them wanting to do that is Kyrie's had a long time love of the Nets, but it's also because they've even said it publicly that they loved how free the Nets played. And they loved how Kenny Atkinson's system is. Now you come in and play a season. Obviously, Durant's been out. Kyrie's been pretty much out too. But it's just kind of funny. I mean, everywhere Kyrie goes, like, it's always something. It's always just something. Like last year, he was in Boston. Tatum and Brown had bad years. And the first year Kyrie's gone, Tatum becomes an all-star. And Jaylen Brown's averaging like 6 more points a game. And now Kyrie Irving into Brooklyn. Kenny Atkinson's out now. Is it just is it all Kyrie, or is it, I mean, what the hell is it? Because, yes, Kyrie's won a championship, but that's also because LeBron's extreme leadership. Like, he's been able to manage Kyrie. Is it Kyrie, or what is it? Like, I ask you guys.
I think it's Kyrie. I don't think he's a good... I mean, look, I think there's a total difference between being really good at your craft and being a good leader.
I agree. I mean, I'm not saying James Harden's a bad leader, but I would say that, like, he's a great player, but oftentimes he's not the greatest leader. Russ is
probably the better leader there.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, like, Russ Westbrook is probably a better leader than James Harden. And James Harden might be a better player, but that doesn't make him a better leader. I just think that kind of shows that, like, yeah, LeBron kind of had a hand on how Kyrie is, and they were able to win a championship. Like, but I don't know. Just, man, Kyrie is not doing much for his legacy the past 2 years. I will say that.
No, I mean, it was fine for a while until he left Cleveland. Then after that, like, everything changed.
Right. I mean, even the young guys said that, like, you know, Kyrie was a little difficult, and just because you're a great player doesn't make you a good leader.
LeBron even said you have the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally going to pass it to you. But he left and wanted to do his own thing. But after he left, he was just difficult in Boston, and it seems like he's difficult in Brooklyn. Like, I don't know. If I was a Brooklyn Nets fan, I'd be upset that we signed him, to be completely honest.
I think, like, maybe long term, like, you're kind of, yeah.
Like, cool. Like, I mean, okay, I'll retract that because Brooklyn didn't really have much anyways. Well, I mean, they have young stars. They have young talent, you know, but it's nice to bring a big player in like Kyrie Irving, and then they bring in Durant knowing that it's going to wait. You have to wait another season before he even steps on the court. But I don't know.
Here's the thing, though, man. It's like Kyrie's saying publicly, like after games this year, he said after a game, someone asked him about their team. Kyrie said, I still think we're a piece away or a few pieces away. And he specifically named players that he thinks should stick with the team. As a player on that team, if Kyrie's not naming you, you have to think like, okay.
It's like, honestly, it's like, fuck you.
Yeah. Seriously, like, you can't be like, I respect honesty, but like, sometimes you can't be that honest.
You can be that honest if you can back it up in a sense. And I'm referencing Kobe Bryant. But even then, I don't think he actually did. I mean, you maybe know better than me. Did he actually call out players to the media?
Yeah, dude. No, like he said, like we've got like good players like so and so, and like he literally named players on the franchise, and the ones that
unless you've like won like 4 championships yourself and you're going for your 5th and 6th, I don't see why you would say that.
Right. I mean, only because like he either doesn't think that you are part of the team, and this is what you got to think of if you're Sean Marks, who's the GM of the Nets. It's like, okay, we have Spencer Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert, who are nice young pieces that you might be able to trade. Maybe the Nets are going after someone this summer. I don't know. But Kyrie still thinks that they need another star. And, bro, like you got Durant coming back. You're a star. This is maybe on you now if you're not winning. Because, yeah, you won a championship, but you also had 2 other stars on your team. So, at some point, you got to look yourself in the mirror if you're Kyrie Irving. And as much as I love Kyrie, I just don't think he's a great leader.
Agree. So we'll end it on that note. So thank you again for listening to another episode of Buffoon Sports Talk. As always, our episodes are always available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, so on and so forth. But also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. hit that sub button and also turn on the notification. So anytime a video is uploaded, you automatically get notified. Anything else, gents?
No,
I
just
think that'll do it.
pretty much to hit on what you said, Phil. Just
Subscribe, like, and share.
yeah, thanks for interrupting me, and thanks for listening.
Till next time. Bullet, all you, bud.
Lickety dickety splickety.